In the last class, I told you to go through the topics once again. How many of you did that? You can respond. How many of you did that? No one? I am asking you only, ma. No one? At least you tell me that. No, ma'am, we didn't go through it. Are you getting my voice? Not entirely, ma'am. It was brief. Why only Jahnav is responding? Okay, one more guy responded, Akash. No. Roll number 6Z is there? Please respond. Roll number 6Z. Yeah, tell me, ma, what is deadlock? You can unmute your mic and talk. Otherwise, you can type. What is deadlock? At least now you go through the running notes what I gave you in the last class, right? When I'm teaching, you might be taking some points, right? So from that, at least try to answer those questions. Six Z. Tell me, ma, what is deadlock? Deadlock occurs when a process enters waiting state. No. No. You are there in my last class? 6Z? No. Then how you will understand today's class? 6H is there? 6H, please respond. Six H. And edges. There are two types of vertices are there and two types of edges are there. What are the two types of vertices, ma? We use a circle and we use rectangle. Circle is for process to represent a process. Rectangle is to represent the resource, and dots inside the rectangle are used to represent the instances of the resources. So you know what do you mean by instances of resources. So if your system is having more than one instance or more than one number of same kind of resource, if you have, you can call them as instances. So if I am having two printers, I can call them as I have a resource type printer with two instances, two copies, right? Guys, you are getting me? I'm once again briefing the things, right? Try to go through it. I think most of you are absent in the previous class, right? For those who are absent, you try to go through the things, ma, what I am teaching now. You can understand, right? So these are the things how you are going to represent them. If a process is requesting for resource, the edge should be from process to resource. If a resource is allocated to the process, then we have the edge from instance of the resource to the process, right? So this is the example for the resource allocation graph. I have given you two scenarios where we have a resource allocation graph and having a loop and deadlock, and having a loop and no deadlock, right? Two situations I have given. So with this, you can understand these points. If a graph contains no cycles, no deadlock. But if graph contains a cycle, and you have only one instance per resource type, then there is a deadlock. But if you have multiple instances of the same resource type and you have a cycle, still there is a possibility for the deadlock. I cannot say that there is a deadlock, right? There is a possibility for the deadlock, right? Now, this is not required for you. Now coming to this, methods for handling the deadlocks. So how you are going to handle the deadlocks? Someone please tell me. I told you in the last class, no? Yes, ma'am. How we can handle the deadlocks? See, we ensure that system will never enter a deadlock state. This is one method, and allow the system to enter the deadlock and recover. We try to recover the deadlock situation, and finally we simply ignore that deadlock will never occur. So most of the operating systems, including Unix, will be doing this. Coming to the prevention, so how you are going to do the deadlock prevention, ma? See, you know, when we can say there is a deadlock, when the four necessary conditions are satisfying, all the four necessary conditions are satisfying, then we can say that there is a deadlock. By making any one of the false, we can say that there will not be deadlock. So how we are going to do in the deadlock prevention is, we'll make sure that any one of the necessary condition is failing. We'll make sure that that is not happening. So mutual exclusion. So mutual exclusion means what? At a time only one process can hold the resource. But how we can make it fail, right? By allowing the sharing. But there are some systems recent days which is allowing you for the resource sharing. So I can say that with the mutual exclusion, I cannot prevent the deadlock. And with this hold and wait, we will make sure that the process is not holding any resources when it is requesting for the resources, right? Then no preemption. No preemption means you should not forcibly take the resource. But here what we do is, we try to take the resources forcibly when they are making the deadlock situation. And circular wait, how we are going to avoid this is by following this order. That means when a process is requesting for the resources, right, it should be in the increasing order of the enumeration, right? So this way we are going to prevent the deadlock. And coming to the deadlock avoidance, how you are going to avoid this is to avoid the deadlock situation. First, OS should know that what are the total available resources and what a process need the max number of resources for its execution, and what are the set of resources it is holding and what are the resources it is requesting. So then what operating system will do is, because OS is having all the information, right, like what is its maximum need and what it is currently holding and what it is requesting for and what are the total available resources in the system. So all this information will be available with the operating system, right? So that what operating system will do is, when a process is requesting for the resource, then OS can make the process wait. That means it will not immediately allocate the resource to the process, right? If allowing that process to use the resource, if it is entering into the deadlock, then OS will not give the permission. Then what OS will do? OS will make the process wait for some time. In that way, it is going to avoid the deadlock, right? So for avoiding the deadlock, we have three algorithms here. One is safe state algorithm, resource allocation graph algorithm, and Banker's algorithm. So in the last class, we discussed about the safe state and then resource allocation. Yes or no, right? So until means when the OS will not give the resource to the process is by allocating this resource to the process if it is entering into the unsafe state. So for this, it is using a condition here. When it will try to identify a safe sequence. That means if n processes are there. So for those n processes, in which order if you allocate the resources to the processes will be in the safe state, right? So for that, it is having a condition here. Let's consider when P2 will be allocated with the resources is the P2 need is equal to the available resources plus the resources released by P1. Then P2 will be assigned with the resources, right? You're getting me? So these are the conditions, you can go through it. When it is coming to resource allocation graph, so in the resource allocation graph, what we are doing here is, see, in the resource allocation graph, we will be using one more edge along with the request edge and assignment edge. We will be having a climb edge. Climb edge is nothing but what? When the process is starting, the process should tell, right? Process should tell what are all the resources it requires. So what it can be allowed to request and what are assigned will be represented with the request edge and the allocation edge. But what are the process require and not at assigned will be represented with the claim edge, that is dotted edge, right? So whenever a process is requesting for that resource, మనం ఎప్పుడైతే dotted లో పెట్టామో and that resource is required for the process, then what operating system will do is, by making that claim edge ఏదైతే ఉందో, that will be first initially when it is requesting, it will be as the request edge. So by making that request edge as the assignment edge, if it is making a loop, understand clearly, initially it will be a claim edge, right? Whenever a process is requesting, that will become the request edge. So when we are making that request edge to the assignment edge, if it is making a loop, that means if it is leading to the deadlock, that request will not be processed. If it is not making a loop, definitely that request will be processed. That means that resource will be allocated to the process. Clear for you all, guys? What is safety algorithm and what is resource allocation graph algorithm for the deadlock avoidance? Yes, please respond. Clear, no? Clear for you all? Safe state అంటే ఏంటి? మనం ఎప్పుడైతే whenever a process is requesting for the resource, we will make sure, OS will make sure that by giving that resource to the process, whether the system is entering into the unsafe state or not. Unsafe state లోకి ఎంటర్ అవుతుంది అంటే డెడ్ లాక్ అని కాదమ్మా. సేఫ్ స్టేట్ లో ఉన్నంత వరకు no deadlock, sorry. ఎప్పుడైతే అన్సేఫ్ స్టేట్ లో వెళ్ళిందో దెన్ దేర్ ఇస్ ఎ పాసిబిలిటీ ఫర్ ద డెడ్ లాక్. అక్కడ కూడా నేను డెడ్ లాక్ అక్కర్ అవుతుంది అనట్లేదు, బట్ దేర్ ఇస్ ఎ పాసిబిలిటీ. సో దాట్ అవాయిడ్ చేయాలి కదా మనం. హియర్ వీఆర్ అవాయిడింగ్ ద డెడ్ లాక్. దెన్ వాట్ ఆపరేటింగ్ సిస్టమ్ విల్ డూ ఇస్ it will check each and every time by allocating that resource to the process, will the system is entering into the unsafe state or not. If it is making the system enter into the unsafe state, that resource will not be allocated to the process. రిసోర్స్ అలికేషన్ గ్రాఫ్ లోంచి ఎలా అవాయిడ్ చేస్తున్నాము? హౌ యూ ఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు డూ ఇట్? సింప్లీ ఒక క్లైమేజ్ పెడుతున్నాం. అంటే ఏంటంటే అట్ ద బిగినింగ్ ఆఫ్ ద ప్రాసెస్ ఓన్లీ ద ప్రాసెస్ షుడ్ నో ఆల్, షుడ్ గివ్ ది ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ దట్ వాట్ ఆర్ ఆల్ ద రిసోర్సెస్ ఇట్ రిక్వైర్. సో ఏవైతే అసైన్ చేస్తున్నారో అవి అసైన్మెంట్ ఎడ్జ్ అవుతాయి. ఏదైతే రిక్వెస్ట్ చేయడానికి పాసిబిలిటీ ఉందో అది రిక్వెస్ట్ ఎడ్జ్ అవుతుంది. ఏవైతే ఫ్యూచర్ లో రిక్వెస్ట్ చేయడానికి ఉందో అవి క్లెయిమ్ ఎడ్జ్ అవుతాయి. Right? ఎప్పుడు claim edge process, whenever a process is requesting for the resource which was claimed, then that will become the request edge. No, when that is allowed, when by making that request edge to the assignment edge and the resource allocation graph is not making any loop, then only that is granted. So that is how we are going to do the resource allocation graph. This way, right? These two are the claim edges. ఎప్పుడైతే మనం claim edge ని requested now, then that was made as the assignment edge. If it is making the loop, then we will not be giving that permission, right? So resource allocation, suppose P1 request for a resource RJ, request can be granted only if converting the request edge to an assignment edge does not result in the forming of a cycle in the resource allocation graph. So this point you should understand. Clear for you all, guys? Can I move to the Banker's algorithm? Yes. Yes, okay. Now coming to this Banker's algorithm. So this Banker's algorithm is applied for the multiple instances resources, right? So and here also each process must have a priori claim maximum use, and it should tell what are the resources and how many instances it require to complete its job, right? So when a process requests a resource, it may have to wait. Normally, when a process gets all its resources, it must return them in a finite amount of time. Process request చేసింది అవన్నీ దానికి ఇచ్చేసాం, but within a finite amount of time it has to be given, right? So Banker's algorithm మన ఎందుకు వచ్చింది? Why? Because see, మనం బ్యాంక్ వెళ్తాం, రైట్? మనం బ్యాంక్ వెళ్తాం, you want some amount లోన్ లో తీసుకోవాలి, you want to take it as a loan, right? Then what you do, you request, then bank will check that amount is available in the bank or not. Undi ankondi, then what it will do is it will give the amount to you. Then what you have to do is you are supposed to return them in the finite amount of time. ఆ టైంలో ఇవ్వలేదు అనుకోండి, నార్మల్ గా వాట్ దే డూ, దే ట్రై టు టేక్ ద ప్రాపర్టీస్ ఆర్ వాట్ ఎవర్. ఇక్కడ కూడా అంతే, వాట్ దే విల్ డూ ఇస్ సింప్లీ దే విల్ ప్రీఎంప్ట్ ద రిసోర్సెస్ ఫ్రమ్ ద ప్రాసెస్, రైట్? మళ్ళీ నీకు అగైన్ ఇఫ్ యూ నీడ్ మనీ, అగైన్ ఇఫ్ యూ నీడ్ రిసోర్సెస్, రైట్, దెన్ టు గెట్ ద రిసోర్సెస్ ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ you should return all the resources that you are holding, right? Whenever you are returning all the resources, that again to other process the resources will be allocated, right? First you should tell what is your maximum use, right? And amount available లేదనుకోండి, అంటే రిసోర్సెస్ అన్ని నీకు కావాల్సిన రిసోర్సెస్ అన్ని అవైలబుల్ లేవనుకోండి, then you are supposed to wait until you will get all the resources, right? And you are supposed to return in the finite amount of time. So in the Banker's algorithm also you try to find out a safe sequence. You try to find out a safe sequence. That means let's consider there are 5 processes. So in which order if I allocate the resources to the processes, the processes are going to be executed in the finite amount of time and without entering into the deadlock state. So these are the data structures that are used for the Banker's algorithm, right? See, normally Banker's algorithm is used in a system with multiple instances of each resource type. The name was chosen because the algorithm could be used in a banking system to ensure that the bank never allocated its available cash in such a way that it could no longer satisfy the needs of all its customers. Ante kada, if it is giving the loan to one person, right, it should make way to all the other customers. But here it is not like that. We have to give the resources to the process in such a way that it should allocate the resources to the processes in such a way that it should satisfy all the process request, right? So here again in the Banker's algorithm, we will be using two algorithms. One is safety algorithm and resource request algorithm. We'll be using two algorithms again here, safety algorithm and resource request algorithm, right? So how the Banker's algorithm will be executed? I can say it's the process of Banker's algorithm. So when a new process enters the system, process must declare the maximum number of instances of each resource type that it may need. First point. Second, the maximum number may not exceed the total number of resources in the system. System lo, what are the resources that are available? Only those many are available lone request cheyali. Your request should not exceed the total number of available resources in the system, right? When a user requests a set of resources, the system must determine whether the allocation of these resources will leave the system in the same state or not, right? The system, when a user is requesting for the set of resources, the system must determine whether the allocation of these resources will leave the system in the safe state or not. If the system is in safe state, then the resources are allocated, right? If the system is an unsafe state, the process must wait until some of other processes releases enough resources. So this is the process of Banker's algorithm. I told you 5 points, ma. If you can make a note of it, it is better. One is, first, declare the maximum number of resources a process requires. Second, what it is requesting should not exceed the total. Max should not exceed the total. Remember, right? And then a process is requesting some set of resources, by allocating them, whether it is leaving the system in the safe state or not. If it is leaving the system in the safe state, allocate the resources. But if it is not leaving the system in the safe state, if it is making the system to enter into the unsafe state, will not be allocated. It will make the process wait for some time so that some of the other resources will be released, so that it will get the enough resources, right? Now coming to this, the data structures used for the Banker's algorithm, right? So let's consider the system is having n number of processes and m number of resource types. See, m is the number of resource types, ma. So each type can have the instances. Guys, following me? Yes? You are with me?
नाम ले रहा हूँ तो ये क्या गाड़ू अरशद मेहता ये कुछ होती अरशद मेहता.
Now, and coming to the data structures, first is available, right? It is a vector of length m, available m annanukondi. It's a vector of length m, indicates the number of available resources of each type, right? It will tell you the number of available resources of each type. That is, if available of j is equal to k, that means there are k instances of resource type rj available. Clear? Available. Then coming to the max, right? So max is a matrix of n by m size. That is, it defines the number of resources of each type currently allocated to each process. Max of n by m means what is? It's a n by m matrix, right? Define, I'm sorry, I'm telling, see, I'm sorry, ma. max is n by m matrix, no? N by m matrix defines the maximum demand of each process. I'm so sorry, right? Available is clear now. Max is nothing but it's a n by m matrix, defines the maximum demand of each process. So max of I comma j is equal to k. That means the process pi may request at most k instances of resource type rj, right? Max of I comma j is equal to k ankondi. That means what is process pi may request at most k instances of resource type rj. Now allocation is also n by m matrix. That is, it defines the number of resource type currently allocated to each process. So if allocation of I comma j is equal to k, that means pi is currently allocated k instances of resource type rj, right? Max ante daniki maximum enni kavali, allocation ante currently n allocate ayi unnai. Need is nothing but it's a n by m matrix, indicates the remaining resource need of each process. అంటే దానికి మాక్సిమం ఎన్ని కావాలి, ఎన్ని అలొకేట్ అయి ఉన్నాయి, ఇంకా ఎన్ని పెండింగ్ ఉన్నాయి. దట్ ఈస్ నీడ్ విల్ టెల్ యూ ద ప్రాసెస్ పిఐ నీడ్ k more instances of rj to complete its task. సో మాక్సిమం దానికి 10 కావాలనుకోండి, 4 అలొకేట్ అయ్యాయి, ఇంకా నీడ్ ఎంత ఉంటుంది, 6. దట్ ఈస్ వాట్ need of ij equal to max of ij minus allocation of ij. Clear for you all these 4 data structures? Clear for you all, guys? Wait, I will ask a roll number. Roll number 6D, Rohit. Roll number 6D is there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you understand the data structures, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
What are those? Tell me.
Ma'am, need request.
Request lede.
Need and I don't remember the first 3, ma'am.
Available. What is available? Tell me.
Available means there is a matrix aij where aij equals to k, where k denotes the number of instances available for the process j.
Is it a matrix? I don't think so. Okay. So let 6E is there. Roll number 6E. 6E is not there. 7B is there. Shravya. Yes. Tell me, ma, what are the data structures? Shravya, you should tell me what are the data structures that are used in the banker's algorithm. My voice is breaking. Now, tell me what are the data structures that are used in the banker's algorithm. Can you hear me now, Shravya? guys tell me? నా వాయిస్ వినిపిస్తుందా మీ అందరికి? Yes, available, max, allocation, need, right? So this is available, max, allocation and available అంటే టోటల్ అవైలబుల్ రిసోర్సెస్. మా మ్యాక్స్ అంటే ఒక ప్రాసెస్ కి మాక్సిమం ఎన్ని రిసోర్సెస్ కావాలో అది మ్యాక్స్. అలొకేషన్ అంటే ఎన్ని అలొకేట్ చేసాము, నీడ్ అంటే ఇంకా ఎన్ని కావాలి. క్లియర్ నో? రైట్. సో ఇఫ్ ఐ రైట్ అవైలబుల్ ఆఫ్ j is equal to k, that means what? K instances of resource type Rj is available, right? So the same thing what I have written here. If available of j is equal to k means what? There are k instances of resource j available. Max of ij is equal to k means what? Right? The process pi request at most k instances of resource type Rj, right? Allocation of ij equal to k means pi is allocated with k instances of resource type Rj. Max is nothing but what? Sorry, need is nothing but what? Need of ij equal to k. That is, the process pi requires more k instances of resource type Rj, right? Now coming to this safety algorithm. Safety algorithm finds out whether the system is in safe state or not, right? Safety algorithm is used to find out whether the system is in safe state or not, right? So you can describe the algorithm like this. Let work and finish be vectors of length m and n respectively. I'm using two vectors, work and finish. So work will hold the available resources, right? Work will hold the available resources. So finish of I is equal to false for I is equal to 0, 1, 2 up to n minus 1. n undanukondi ante it is finished ani. Got it? Now finish, find and I such that both finish of I is equal to false and need of I is less than or equal to work. Try to understand that. I will explain again in detail, right? Take two vectors, work and finish, right? So work holds the available resources, work holds the available resources and finish holds the true and false, right? False means what? The work is not finished. That is, the process is not completed yet, right? Now, find an index I such that ఇది end కాదు, it was a mistake I think. Find an index I, let me find an index I such that both finish of I is equal to false, need of I is less than or equal to work. Work content available. If your need is less than or equal to available, finish is equal to false, right? If no I exist, go to step 4. అంటే ఏంటంటే, if your need is less than or equal to available, your process is not completed and your process need is less than or equal to the available resources, then what you do is you go to the step 4. అంటే ఏంటంటే, these resources will be allocated to the process. These resources will be allocated to the process and then finally finish of I is equal to true. And by allocating those resources to the process, if the process can able to complete it, If the process is able to complete it, then the system is in safe state. So this I is the process, no? It has to be checked for all the processes. What is the third step? Work is equal to work plus allocation. And if one process released the resources, now what available will become? Available plus allocation. Right? That means if one process is releasing the resources, no, those resources will be added to the available resources now, because that process completed and it released its resources. Right? You are getting me? The third step will tell you work is equal to work plus allocation. Work plus allocation I antunnanu. Ante for the ith process. Right? I process allocated resources will be released, no? Those will be added and that process will be completing its job. Finish is equal to true. Then go to step 2 and then you do for some other I. That way all processes will be executed by checking that, by allocating the resources to the processes. Very simple way I will tell you the safety algorithm. So initially I have set of resources and I have some processes which are not yet completed. That means finish of I is equal to false. So for each I will check that whether the job is completed and the job need is less than or equal to the available resources. In that case, resources will be allocated and job will be completing and it is releasing its resources. So what are the released resources are there? Those will be added to the available resources now. Those will be added to the available resources now. Then some other job will be giving the resources. And if the job is completed, again that will be releasing the resources now after the completion of the job. Again, those will be added to the available resources. And that job will be completing. That way it will be done for all the processes. So when you are allocating them, each time you are checking that whether it is leaving the system in the safe state or not. So when it will be in the safe state, when you are allocating the resources to the processes in some order, and if you could able to execute all the jobs in the order you are given, you are able to complete the jobs for all I, then you can say that the system is in safe state. Clear for you all? Clear for you all, guys? So every time you have to check that whenever the operating system is allocating the resources to the processes, it should check that available resources are more than the need, then only you are going to allocate the resources. And if it is leaving the system in the safe state, these two conditions will be verified. Accordingly, you will be allocating the resources to the processes. Then you can say that your system is in the safe state if you could able to complete all the jobs in some order. Clear? ఇక్కడ గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి, you are allocating all the resources at a time to the process ma. Clear for you all, guys? Only Akash understood? Please respond. Clear. Very good. Yes. Now let's move to the other algorithm, that is resource request algorithm. So this actually we can call it as the banker's algorithm. So actually when to apply this resource request algorithm, first you should understand, you should know the safe sequence. Once you know the safe sequence, then according to that you will be giving the resources to the processes, right? Now this algorithm determines whether the request can be safely granted. This algorithm determines whether request can be safely granted. That means whatever the process is requesting can be able to grant the resources by leaving the system in the safe state. So here we are using some vectors also. Let request be the request vector for the process pi. If the request of I is equal to j, sorry, if the request I of j is equal to k, then process pi wants k instances of resource type rj. If the request I of j is equal to k, then means process pi requesting the k instances of the resource type rj, right? Then first what we check, if the request of I less than or equal to need I, అంటే ఏంటి, whatever I am requesting is less than or equal to the need I, right? నాకు I require some need will tell you what, how many more I require for my job completion, right? And what I am requesting is, I should request how many I need. I should not request more than I need. Yes or no? So for that, this condition is satisfied. If the request I is less than or equal to need I, then go to step 2. Otherwise, raise error condition since the process has exceeded its maximum claim. I require 4 ma. If I am requesting for 5, then it will raise an error condition. So first what I should check is, request should be less than or equal to need. Second condition, if this is satisfying, then what we are checking, if the request I less than or equal to available, right? According to my need I am requesting, but they should check that my request is less than or equal to the available resources should be satisfying my request. No, if this condition is satisfying, go to step 3. Otherwise pi must wait since the resources are not available. Yes or no? I am requesting 5 resources, but there are only 4 available. Then what they do, they should make me wait until some other processes will be releasing the requested resources, so that my condition should be satisfied, then only I will be allocated. Now pretend to allocate the request resources to pi by modifying the state as follows. I am allocating some resources to the process. Then what happens? Now available will become available minus request. Avuna kada? Some set of resources are available, and some resources are allocating to the process which it is requesting. So available will be available minus request. Allocation of I is equal to the allocation of I plus request. Need of I is equal to need of I minus request. Try to understand these 3 steps, ma. By doing all this, if it is leaving the system, if safe, the resources are allocated to pi. If unsafe, pi must wait and the old resource allocation state is restored. Guys, read the points once again. Try to understand, please. Do let me know if you are understanding or not. Clear? All of you? Once again, read it, right? I'm unmute. Understood? Yes. Only Akash and Shravya understood. Okay. Now we will solve a problem. For this banker's algorithm, you have a problem also, right? So I'll give you a simple example for that. So for that, you are supposed to identify the safe sequence. You're supposed to identify the safe sequence, right? Can we see the problem? Yes. Yeah. Take this problem. So there are 5 processes: P0, P1, P2, P3, P4, right? And you have 3 resources, A, B, C. So the resource type A is having 10 instances, the resource type B is having 5 instances, and the resource type C is having 7 instances, right? So suppose that at time T0, right, the following snapshots are of the system has been taken, right? So now initially the system is having resource. Why? Because see, P0 allocation is this, maximum available are this, and the maximum is this, and the available is this, right? Initially it was given like this mark. So these are the things which we are allocated, already allocated things, right? And initially we have the max of this 753 and the available are 332. ఇవి మనకి ఇప్పుడు అవైలబుల్ ఉన్న రిసోర్సెస్. These are the available resources for now. Now by using this information, right, by using this information, use the banker's algorithm, and try to find out the safe sequence. So in which order, if you allocate the resources to the processes, you could able to execute the job in the safe sequence. In the safe sequence, you are supposed to do it, right? So at time T0, this is the information that is available with us, right? The available vector can be calculated by subtracting the total number of resources from the sum of the resources allocated to each process. So available resources of A is equal to total resources of A minus sum of the resources allocated to process P1 to P4. So available of A is 3. Total 10 kadandi. If you add allocation, P1 allocated with 2, P2 allocated with 3, P3 allocated with 2. Total how much? 2, 3, 5 plus 2, 7. So allocated is 7, so available are 3. You are getting me? And if you take the resource type B, total 5 are there, but we allocated P0 process 1 and P3 process 1. So available are 3. If you take the C, allocated to P2 and P3 and P4. So 2 plus 1 plus 2, 5. Available are 2. You know the formula, right? So available is equal to total number of resources minus sum of resources allocated to all the processes P0 to P4. Now you are supposed to take the need matrix. So how you are going to take the need matrix? Need is equal to max minus allocation. Need is equal to max minus allocation. Right? So by using the banker's algorithm, we will be deciding whether it is in the safe state or not, right? So after solving the problem using the banker's algorithm, you will get a safe state with the safe sequence. Right? Now our job is to find out the safe sequence, right? So calculate the need matrix this way. Calculate the need matrix that way, right? You understood this? See, this is the problem they will give, ma. This is the problem they will give, right? So there are 5 processes, and I have the instances of each resource type with the 3 types of resources, right? So how this how you are going to do it? The available how you are going to do it, right? The total number of resources minus the allocated resources, that will give you the available. And max is what? Maximum need. The maximum need, yes or no? Max is nothing but what? These are the maximum number of resources each process requires to complete its job. So need ala calculate chesta nuvu. Each time when you are assigning the resources, how you are going to calculate the need? Need is equal to max minus allocated resources, right? So P0 need anta ippudu 753 minus 010, right? The need will be 743. You're following me, guys? Max minus allocation will give you the need. So that way you first find out the need matrix. So by seeing this need matrix and with the available things, 332. Available is 332, no? So this is the need. This is the need, right? So then what we do is with the available, you check what is the available now for your problem. 332. So is it possible to allocate those resources to P0? No. Why? Because its need is more than the available. You should understand this. P0 need is 743. But available resources are 332 only. Is it possible to give to this P0? Answer please. No. Then what we do? Check for the next process. Is it possible to allocate to P1? 332 is available. Need is 122. Possible? Yes. Now you allocate the resources to P1 first. Then after completing the P1, now your available will become 332 plus 122. Why? Because P1 is releasing its resources. If you see the algorithm of resource request allocation problem, now you are supposed to add the P1 resources to the available. Now available will become 4 available will become 4, 5, 4. After this, it will become 4, 5, 4. Now you check, is it possible to allocate to P2? No. Why? Because its request is 600, but we have only 454. Only 4 instances of the resource type A is available, but P2 is requesting 6 instances. Not possible. So you are not giving to P2. Next check 011. Is it possible to allocate? Yes. So after you are allocating to P3, now your available will become, it will be updating. After updating, you check, is it possible to give to P4? If possible, yes, give. Then what are the remaining now? P0, P2. Among these two, now you check which is feasible. Can I give to P0 or can I give to P2? If I can give to P0, P0 you can give. But here it is not possible. You can give to P2. After giving to P2, all resources will be released. Now P0 is getting enough resources to get it done. Now finally P0 will be given. So I can say this is the safe sequence. So this way you will be updating after giving to each processes. Okay guys? Yes or no? Do you understand this Banker's algorithm problem? They will give you a scenario with the allocation and max and available. How you are going to calculate the available? How you are going to calculate the available? Total number of resource type minus total allocated resources of that type to all the processes. That way available will be calculated. After that available, you are supposed to calculate the need for each process. After calculating the need, by checking with the available, what is the safe sequence you should calculate? Yes or no? Now, this is the next you have deadlock detection algorithm. So it will allow the system to enter the deadlock state, then you detect, then you recover. So if your system does not employ either a deadlock prevention or deadlock avoidance, then a deadlock situation may occur. Right? In this environment, the system provides an algorithm that examines the safe of the system to determine whether a deadlock has occurred. Yes, if occurred, then you are supposed to recover from the deadlock. Right? So it is very easy, if your system is having the resources with the single instance, in the deadlock detection is very easy, right? So you are supposed to maintain a wait for graph, right? Wait for graph. Nodes are the processes and PI to PJ means PI is waiting for PJ. Very simple. From the resource allocation graph, if you remove the resources, then that will become the wait for graph. So this is the resource allocation graph. If you remove all the resources, see, if you have like this, P1 is requesting R1 and R1 is holding P2, then you can have an arrow from P1 to P2. Right? You are getting me? You can remove the resources and you can have the direct edges from process to process, right? And consider if your wait for graph is having any loops, that means there is a deadlock. Very simple, right? Deadlock detection in single instance of each resource type. So if a system having the resources and they have only a single instance, then we can define a deadlock detection algorithm that uses a variant of the resource allocation graph called wait for graph. So how you are going to get this is, we obtain wait for graph from the resource allocation graph by removing the resource nodes and collapsing the appropriate edges. So an edge from PI to PJ in a wait for graph implies that PI is waiting for PJ to release the resource PI needs. An edge Pi to Pj exists in the wait for graph if and only if the corresponding resource allocation graph contains two edges Pi to Rq and Rq to Pj for some resource type Rq. The same thing. If you see this above graph, yes, the above figure we present the resource allocation graph and the corresponding wait for graph. A deadlock exists in the system if and only if the wait for graph contains a cycle. The same thing, right? So to detect the deadlocks, the system needs it needs to maintain the wait for graph and periodically invoke an algorithm that searches for a cycle in the graph, right? So an algorithm to detect a cycle in the graph requires an order of n square operations where n is the number of vertices in the graph. So this point you should remember, right? Very simple, ma'am. How we are going to find out deadlock detection? Ma'am, I have a doubt for ABC. If the resource type B are available but A and B can be allocated. No, ma'am. See, if any process is requesting for the resources, right? A, B, C, move to satisfy aitene, that will be allocated. Otherwise will not be. Shavya, got my point? Yes. It should satisfy for all the resources. You understood my deadlock detection? How you are going to detect the deadlock? For the single instances ఉన్నప్పుడు how you are going to detect the deadlock is from the resource allocation graph, remove the resources and make an edge from process to process. That means if the Pi is waiting for Pj, then there will be an edge from Pi to Pj. That graph is called wait for graph, and if the wait for graph is having any cycles, then we can say that there is a deadlock. Is it clear for you all? Yes? Yes, okay. Now, what to do if a resource is having more than one instance, multiple instances ఉన్నప్పుడు, how we can find out the deadlock detection, right? For that we have detection algorithm, right? So before that you should know the terms available, allocation and request. So this we will be knowing what is available, right? A vector of length m indicates the number of available resources of each type, right? Allocation is the number of resources of each type currently allocated to each process. Request means it indicates the current request of each process, right? If the request ij equal to k means the Pi is requesting k more instances of resource type rj. అంటే allocate చేసినవి కాకుండా if more it is requesting, that will be the request. So how you are going to detect the deadlock here, right? So here the same thing, work and finish with the vectors of length m and respectively. Work is holding available. For I is equal to 1 to n, if the allocation of I not equal to 0. And if you are allocating them, then finish of I is equal to false. Otherwise, finish of I will be true. So allocation అనేది not equal to 0 అనుకోండి, then finish of I is equal to false. అంటే it was not finished. We have not, you are getting me? Otherwise, finish of I is equal to true. 9. Now, find an index I such that both finish of I is equal to false and request of I is less than or equal to work. I am requesting something, right? And work is holding the available things. You have to find some index I. If there is no index I exist with this condition, then go to step 4. In the step 4, what we are doing? If the finish of I is equal to false, then the system is in deadlock. వెరీ సింపుల్ మా, మనం అక్కడ సేఫ్టీ అల్గరిథమ్స్ కి ఏదైతే అప్లై చేస్తున్నామో దానికి ఇక్కడ రివర్స్. అక్కడ ఫినిష్ ఆఫ్ ఐ ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్ టు ట్రూ అయితే సిస్టమ్ ఈజ్ ఇన్ సేఫ్ స్టేట్. ఇక్కడ ఫినిష్ ఆఫ్ ఐ ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్ టు ఫాల్స్ అంటే ఏంటంటే ఐ హ్యావ్ సమ్ ఇండెక్స్ వేర్ దిస్ కండిషన్ ఇస్ ఫెయిలింగ్, రైట్? ఐ హ్యావ్, then I can say that finish of I is equal to false, then there is a deadlock, right? So work is equal to work plus allocation, the same thing. Whenever I am allocating the resources to the process, request is less than or equal to work unkondi, then I am processing this request, then that will become work plus allocation. Finish of I is equal to true, go to step 2. That means I should go for another I. For each I should say like this, right? So if no such I index, ila means save sequence lo ellakunda edaina process undi ankondi, that means there is a deadlock. Very simple. If I found some process pi where the job is not done and I am unable to give the processes to the, I am unable to give the resources to the process, then I can find out there is a deadlock. Just read down the steps, understand the steps, right? Then with this algorithm, you will be able to identify that there is a deadlock with the more number of instances. Single instances is simple. What I am doing, I am making the wait for graph. If the wait for graph is having any cycles, then there is a deadlock. If I have more than one instances for the resource, then I should use some detection algorithm. It is like the finding the safety algorithm only. Safety algorithm lo manam safe sequence find out chestam. But here, when I am finding the safe sequence, it is not possible. If it is not possible to give the safe sequence for the processes, then I can say that there is a deadlock. Got it? One example was given here. So there are 5 processes, P0 to P4, and instances are there, right? Initially, the system is not in deadlock state. If we apply the deadlock detection algorithm, we will find the sequence that results finish of I for all. That is, system is in safe state and there is no deadlock. And if you are unable to find out the safe sequence, then you can say that there will be the deadlock, right? Very simple, ma'am. If you can able to find the safe sequence, right, then there is no deadlock. But if you are unable to find a safe sequence, then you can simply say there is a deadlock, right? Then recovery from the deadlock, ma. For this, you have 2 options. One is process termination, then resource preemption. Deadlock, because of a process, you can say there is a deadlock situation is happening, simply terminate the process. Or else resource preemption, you can remove the resources from the process, right? Very simple. About all deadlock processes, about one process at a time until the deadlock cycle is eliminated, right? So how you can able to abort these things is, you will have some order here, right? Based on the priority of the processes, how long process has computed and how longer it is, how much longer to completion, resources the process has used, resources process needs to complete, how many processes will need to be terminated, is process interactive or batch, if that process depending on another process or not. These conditions you are about to consider when you want to terminate a process, right? One second, ma, I will connect the charger. going to recover from the deadlock? One is either abort a process, or else aborting means terminating, or else you can preempt the resources, right? So when you want to abort, you are supposed to consider these things, right? Coming to the process termination, to eliminate the deadlock by aborting the process, we use any one of the two methods. One is abort all deadlock processes, or abort one process at a time until the deadlock cycle is terminated, right? For termination also, you use these two things, ma. One is abort all deadlock processes. You can abort all the deadlock processes, or else you can abort one process at a time until the deadlock cycle is eliminated, right? So many factors may affect which process is chosen for preempting includes, right? If you want to go for preempting the resources from the process, right? These are the factors you are supposed to consider. And when it is coming to the resource preemption, then to eliminate the deadlock using the resource preemption, we successively preempt some resources from processes and give these resources to other processes until the deadlock cycle is broken. So here you are supposed to consider these things, ma, when you are using the resource preemption: selecting a victim, rollback, and starvation. So as in process termination, we must determine the order of preemption to minimize the cost. What resources means, from which process you are preempting the resources. For that, selecting a victim is very, very important. You should make sure that it is making you minimum loss, right? We must determine the order of preemption to minimize the cost, right? So here cost factors include the number of resources a deadlock process is holding and the amount of time the process has thus far consumed. మొత్తం కంప్లీట్ అయ్యి లాస్ట్ ఒక రిసోర్స్ తోటి అవుతుంది అంటే యూ కెనాట్ ప్రీమ్ దట్ ప్రాసెస్ లో, you cannot take the resources from the process. So that way you are supposed to select a victim. Rollback: if you preempt a resource from a process, then the process cannot continue with its normal execution, right? If you preempt something, right, it cannot continue like that, no. For that, it has to go back to some state, and from there it should start the execution, right? So it is missing some needed resource. We must do the total rollback of the process and restart it from the state. Abort the process and then restart it. Rolling back is nothing but here, go back, roll back, and from there again restart the process. Starvation, right? We should make sure that by taking the resources, we should ensure that starvation will not occur. So we can guarantee that resources will not always be preempted from the same process. That means you are taking the resources initially and you restarted. Again, you are taking the resources from the same process. Again, it restarted. You should not do like that, right? You should not make this starvation situation occur, right? So in a system where victim selection is based on the cost factors, it may happen that the same process is always picked as the victim. As a result, the process never completes its task and leads to the starvation. We must ensure that the process can be picked as a victim only a finite number of times, right? You are getting me? The solution is to indicate the number of rollbacks in the cost factor. So ఎన్నిసార్లు మనం దాన్ని రోల్ బ్యాక్ చేసాం, ఎన్నిసార్లు విక్టిమ్ కి ఐడెంటిఫై చేసాం అనేది you should have some information. Based on that, you are supposed to preempt the resources from the process, right? So this is clear for you all, guys. Prevention we discussed, avoidance we discussed. In avoidance, we discussed about safe state algorithm, resource allocation graph algorithm, and Banker's algorithm. Detection: for detection, we use two algorithms, right? For detection with the single instances, right? you will be using wait for graph, and for with multiple instances we will be using deadlock detection algorithm, right? And in the detection, after detecting out, how we are going to recover it is by simply terminating the processes. So while you are terminating the processes, again you should choose which process has to be terminated, right? And then to preempt the resources, there also you should follow some issues. There are three things to be considered. First, you should find out a victim, then roll back that victim, restart, and make sure that no starvation is happening. Clear? Yes. Today I will share these notes with you. You need not to worry. ఎస్ రెస్పాండ్ అవ్వండి అమ్మా. ఒకళ్ళిద్దరు రెస్పాండ్ అవుతారంటే క్లాస్ లో 43 మంది ఉన్నారు. Yes, I'll be taking the attendance now.